Hey IDs, welcome to Module 7. We're in a really good place right now because Module 7 is where um, we really start to think about what it is that our final product is going to look like. This week we're going to be talking about the LMS, which is stands for Learning Management System, and we're going to be talking about the blueprint. Now, this is where we really start to move ahead with publishing content. That's where we're going to be. That's where we start with this. And that process is going to start this week, where you're actually going to be taking content and bringing it into Blackboard, and and beginning the process of creating your final product. So that's exciting stuff. I mean, right now, you've already had a kickoff meeting with your group. You've talked things through. You've come up with a project plan. You've even planned insofar as you have objectives and outcomes. And now is how we're going to do it. We're going to put it into place, and we're going to add it to the learning management system, which is a space where students are going to access it. So that's really, really good stuff. Let me just say one thing about the objectives and outcomes, by the way. Those should be a draft situation at this point. I mean, we always want to make sure that we have assessments, outcomes, and objectives in place at the beginning when we start our course development process, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be changed slightly. They're not going to be tweaked over the course of the development time. It's an iterative process, right? So the ones that you have now may very well not be the ones that you use later, and that's okay. It's just that we want to make sure that we're planning for the end, right? What does it look like at the end? And we want to have that in place. We want to be thinking about that at the beginning, and not having the end be a surprise. But that doesn't mean you can't change things, right? It's just like, it's like writing. It's any of that, right? It's iterative. It's gonna, as you have input, as you learn things, as you read through things, it's going to change. So don't be afraid to do that. Your final outcomes and objectives are going to change more than likely. All right. So let me talk just little bit about the learning management system. And you know, big question this week. It's kind of the pet question I have for the week is, what is the future of the learning management system? We have Blackboard, we have Moodle, we have these other learning management systems you're probably familiar with. Is this the future of what online learning is going to look like? With the learning management system, a big site, a big robust site that hosts courses. It's an interesting thought. What do you think about that? And kind of bear that in mind as we talk about the learning management system. And then the second piece is the blueprint, right? Blueprint is a tool that is meant to be a really convenient, easy way for us to take content that is kind of unrefined and bring it up into a learning place where students can access it. And that's what it's meant to do, and it's actually a very helpful tool. In the module this week, you're going to see there's a demonstration that I do that's about 22 minutes long. It is a little bit long, but don't be afraid to take a pause, like midway through or a third of the way through, and then go back to it later. It is reasonably comprehensive because I go through each of the module pieces that you're going to be required to add into your own course, and I give some reasonably good rationale about why it's there, and how it works and how it can make it easier for you. In that video. So pay particular attention to it. I think it's worth your time. Learning management. Oh yeah, this particulars about your learning management system is another thing I want to talk about. Right. There are 2 course shells that have been developed for each of the 2 project courses. I just have not released them to you yet. There are a couple of formatting things that I'm going to have to manage a little bit to make it so that it's easier and, let's face it, better looking for you. When I get a course sent out to me, a lot of times it's rather bare, and I like to add some things in there to make it look a little bit better. And so I'll be working on that. And by tomorrow afternoon, which is Tuesday, today's the 6th, so it would be the 7th. That's Tuesday the 7th. It'll be ready for you so that you can begin adding your things in and you can your outcomes and objectives can go in there, and that's going to be part of the work for the week. And it will be as we continue to move forward with each of the content pieces that we work on each and every week. Part of your assignment is going to be doing some kind of a practice exercise, more than likely, with that, and then actually add the content to Blackboard. You don't have to do it all right now. In fact, you can leave it to the end if you want. I wouldn't encourage that. One of the advantages of this course is that you can kind of do one piece at a time. And that's really how the course development process works too. Sometimes we do it all at the end, but we don't want to do it all at the end. We want to build it as we go. So just kind of bear that in mind. So there's that. So that's what we're going to be looking at for this week. Also, I also did something of a review from last week's discussion forum that's available to you too. I made another mistake and I called the module 5 when in fact it was module 6. So just be aware of that. In fact, it is module 6. I don't know why. I've done it 2 weeks in a row. I keep calling it the wrong one. I must be a week behind of some kind, something. But it's just another way of responding to a discussion forum, and you'll see that. And again, it's like one of those things where if you're ever teaching an online course, or if you're doing instructional design and you have an SME or an instructor that's got a lot of students in there, this is a strategy you might want to use. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it is a way of providing feedback in spite of having a large number of students. So that's that. Any questions you have, Q&A forum. If you got specific questions for me, please do the email thing. And I'm thinking about the possibility of having scheduling another synchronous session next week or the week after. It wouldn't be next week because I think it's spring break. I'll have to check my stuff, but I want to do another synchronous session where we can talk through some other things. Your progress report has been is due, and I'll be looking through those things and see if there's any red flags or whatever that I need to help you out with. So there's that. Again, questions, you know where to go, and all that. And have a great module 7. Bye-bye.